Okay, here we are in chapter 4 with the review exercises, numbers 1 through 6. So it says solve each system of equations. It does not give us the specific method we're supposed to use, so we can use whichever one we'd like. On this first one, number 1, let's put it out here. Y equals 2/3 x plus 1 and y equals a negative 2x plus 5. Since we can use either one and y is already solved for, I think substitution makes the most sense to say 2/3 x plus 1 equals a negative 2x plus a 5. We now have an equation that we can deal with, and we all know how to do this. I'm going to multiply through by 3 to get rid of the fractions. So times by 3 everywhere. And that cancels. I get 2x plus 3 equals negative 6x plus 15. Add 6x over here, I get 8x. Subtract the 3 over there, I get 12. And I get x equals 12 eighths, which is, if we divide by 4 and 4, we get 3 halves. So if I stick x as 3 halves back up in there, let's pick a color for our solution here. If I stick 3 halves right up there, I get y equals 2/3 times 3 halves plus 1. That is a 1 plus 1, y equals 2. So our point then is 3 halves, 2. Excellent. Next problem, number 2. 5x minus 3y equals 1. Let's write this guy right down here, number 2. 5x minus 3y equals 1, and x equals 1. We already have half of our answer right here. It's going to be 1 something. So we stick that 1 right up in for the x, and we get 5 times 1 minus 3y equals 1. So subtract 5 from both sides, and we get negative 3y equals negative 4. Divide by negative 3, and I get y equals a positive 4/3. All right. Good. There's number 2. Number 3. 5x plus 2y, let's rewrite it down here, equals 20. And then y equals 7/3 x minus 9 halves. Ooh, lots of fractions in this one, but since y is already solved for, we'll do substitution. We get 5x plus 2 parentheses 7/3 x minus 9 halves equals 20. Then the 2 jumps in here, so we get 5x plus 14/3 x minus 9, now just 18 halves, equals 20. Multiply everything through by 3 to get rid of the fraction. I get 15x plus 14x minus 27 equals 60. Let's put that on there so we know what we just did, times everything by 3, and that was to eliminate the fraction. So now we have 29x equals 87. Divide by 29, divide by 29, and we get x equals 3. Alrighty then. If x is 3, what does that give us for the other one? Put a 3 right in there. 5 times 3 is 15. 20 minus 15 is 5, divided by 2 is 5 halves. We could have also put 3 in here, and let me see what happens when we put a 3 in there. 7 halves times 3 is 7 minus 9 halves. That's 14 halves minus 9 halves would still give us 5 halves. Correct. All right, number 4. We have, let's write it right over here, number 4. 5x plus 4y equals 7, and 10x plus 8y equals 14. Okay, what do we have with this one? Looks like elimination would be great to try to get rid of those y's. Let's times the top guy by like negative 2. There we go. So we could rewrite this as a negative 10x. Let's do that in a slightly different color. Negative 10x minus 8y equals a negative 14. And when we add these two equations, oh look, the x's go away, the y's go away, and we get 0 equals 0. And what does that mean? Infinite solutions. And they're the same line. They're always crossing. So that doesn't help us find a solution at all. So that equation is what all the answers look like. All right. Let's try number 5. Okay. Oh, it's going to be a very similar one to what happened here. Let's go ahead and do it right up here and times this guy by a -2 in order to get the y's to try to cancel, and we end up with a -8x, a -6y, and a -14. When we add them, we get, let me see, 0 equals 1. Number 5 is going to be no solution. 0 does not equal 1. It never has, never will, cannot happen. All right, number 6. We now have the last one here. 3x minus 3y equals 7, and 7x plus 6y equals -14. All right, so we could try to get rid of the x's by timesing the top by like a -7 and the bottom of 3. That would be ugly. So let's times by 2 and get rid of everything here. Multiply by 2 up here. Yeah. And let's go ahead and rewrite that out in a different color so we can see what it looks like. That's a 6x and a -6y. Good. The y's will go away. Equals a 14. So now when we add them, we get back to our color. It is a 13x equals 0. Man, okay, 13x equals 0. Oh, that's nice. Divide by a 13, not an x, equals 0 over 13, which equals 0. So if x equals 0, let's stick that guy right back up in there and see what we get. If x equals 0, we get 3 times 0 minus 3 times y equals 7. 0's gone. Divide by a -3 and we get y equals a -7/3. So we get 0, -7/3. Alrighty, there's 1 through 6.